glad you're here.
I'm delighted to be here. Exciting.
Hello, lovely people. I'm Tabs Wadey and I am a community-minded property investor from Worthing. And we're trying to do property differently because we think humankind are in need. And our passion is crisis housing. So today's episode is a little bit different for me because Gary, who's here, he isn't just somebody I admire immensely. He's my friend. And I want this to feel more like a conversation for him rather than an interview.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot on this podcast about kindness and trying to do things differently and about creating safety when life is in chaos.
Yeah.
And Gary's life and vocation, soberNsound, sits right at the heart of all of that.
I'd say so, yeah. I try to create as safe a space for people as I can, but I'm sure you'll reveal more.
I will. Can I just say, many congratulations. I know you've got 60,000 followers, and enough to fill, what stadium would that be?
Maybe Anfield, which is my least favourite stadium.
Sorry.
I'd like to get to Old Trafford, which
Old
is 75, and then maybe Barcelona's. We'll get there eventually. But
amazing. Thank you.
You're
I'm
absolutely
so happy
welcome.
to-
I'm delighted to be here. I love you. So, like you say, we are friends and ex-neighbours, and you're a big part of my life. So, it's the least I could do is come and share my
Thank
story
you.
and tell you about what I'm up to and talk about kindness. Because ultimately, I wasn't very kind to myself, and now I am, and it helps me be kind to others and create a safe space with the project that I do. So it's all good.
Yeah. Can you tell me a bit about your wonderful self, please?
I am Gary. I am 45, father. I'm Scottish, even though I don't sound it unless I say the word white and then I sound Scottish. But I grew up in Cheshire, just south of Manchester. I have a sobriety account because my early adulthood was blighted with alcoholism, and I got sober at 33. And in the last 2 years, I've created an Instagram account and an online presence generally where I tell it like it is in a very blunt, profane manner, because that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm just helping people kick the booze, sort their lives out, take control of stuff, and it seems to be working and growing. So and I've gone all in on it. I quit my job last year, so now I'm an influencer.
Amazing. I know that doesn't always sit comfortably with you because I know that is, you feel very responsible, like you're a good man.
Well, the word it just gets people take the piss out of the word, don't they? Oh, look at that influencer.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not bothered. I create content for the betterment of people, and I guess I'm sober. I said this in a reel yesterday. I'm sober, and I have a positive influence on people. So I guess you could call it that. So I'm not bothered. I just want people to like my content, follow me, and get something out of it. So so far it's going really well. And I think when you're drinking, it's like you just take. You extract from yourself, from others, from the people around you that you love and care about. So part of being sober is eventually, once you've sorted your own life and shit out, it's nice to give back and do something altruistic. And you get knobheads on. Sorry, am I allowed to?
Please do.
Drop a nod. You will get people say, "Oh, but you're it's not altruistic because you've got an online community that's £10 a month." It's like, mate, I've got to feed my family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So ultimately, I work my arse off to help people, and I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, so it's all good.
It's amazing. Can I ask, when did you know that you were addicted to alcohol?
I vividly remember one night leaving a pub in the village that I lived in. I was either 17 or 18 because I was in sixth form, and I remember saying to a mate on a park bench that I thought I had a problem with alcohol. So 17 maybe. And I even remember I went to a house party, maybe GCSE time, and I remember I don't know if anyone remembers Carling Premier. It was like a creamy version of Carling, a bit like Caffrey's. And I remember drinking a few and getting a warm feeling and looking around the party going, yeah, nobody's enjoying this like I am, and nobody's drinking it for the same reasons as I am. And so like teens. which is sad and tragic, really. So very, very young.
What were the reasons you were drinking for at that point?
I have since discovered self-diagnosed ADHD, but like when I looked into it, my partner said, well, maybe you've got ADHD a couple of years ago, and I looked into it, I was like, there's absolutely no question that I have it. And I would say probably got on the higher end of the scale. And I look back and wonder if it was just trying to drown out the constant noise in my head. You know, I had a great childhood, mint parents, was popular at school, went to a private boys' school in the leafy suburbia, you know, of Cheshire. So on paper, I should in no way have been, you know, searching for something to like escape my mind, but I was, and I think it may have been that. I had agonising acne on my back from the age of 13 till about 30, and then ironically at 33 when I got sober it got better, but I couldn't sleep on my back for 15 years.
Wow.
And I took a drug. I got prescribed, I went to dermatologists, blah, 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 but I ended up taking a drug called, if my memory serves me correct, Roaccutane, and that changed me, because I think kids were taking their lives that were on it, so I think there was a big hoo-ha about it in the press, and it changed me. So I think that, coupled with wanting to impress girls and being the life and soul at the party, and I was in a school band, and I was living up to the kind of oasis-y lifestyle that, because that was what it was all about. It was the mid-90s, and everybody wanted to be Liam Gallagher, and I did, and I was embodying that, and before I knew it, I was at uni, and I was just like drinking in the mornings, so it was game over early.
Cool Britannia, that era, it was like...
Lots to answer for.
A lot to answer for.
Yeah.
And I guess, like young people today, I'm happy for them that they're in an age where they don't want to go off and get out off their heads like as much as we did, because it was almost nihilistic. The 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, it was very hedonistic, wasn't it? And but it was the norm. It was.
Yeah.
And I think at that period as well, I'm sure you'll remember the kind of ladette era as well. You know, like I remember there's one famous image of, I think it was Zoe Ball and Sarah Cox walking out of the studios somewhere with a bottle of Jack in their hand in the morning.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't just lads.
Absolutely right.
It was everybody, and the parties I went to and the drinking in the park, it was 50-50. So the youngsters have got their challenges now. Yeah. And I almost think I'd rather have had mine than what's coming for them, but you just live your time, don't you?
You live your time.
There's not a lot you can do about it.
And I guess it was, in a way, we had this kind of freedom. Like it was like I felt that I was free to do whatever I want, and I lived that to the extreme, especially within the raving culture.
Right. Okay. See, that wasn't my vibe.
Yeah.
I got into like recreational suites at uni, but when I was living at home, it was all rock and roll. That's what it was. All of my mates were all into the indie explosion at that time. And that depend, like what the music you liked kind of led you to certain activities. Yeah. So ours was predominantly drinking, smoking weed, and then when I got to uni and I got a bit of freedom, I was game for anything really. Apart from studying. Yeah. Like what do you do? It's no one's fault.
No.
It's just the way it is. So ultimately, when you grow up, you've got to take responsibility for your own shit, and I couldn't because I was drinking heavily at 17, 18, and at 19 with the freedom of uni, like brutal amount of drinking. Like I talk about the parties that I went to in school. I remember being in the university student union bar. I went to Hull, and it was a massive bar. It was a great bar. And even then, I was standing at the door at 11 o'clock every morning. There was just one other guy who was always on the fruit machines at the same time, and everybody knew he had a problem. Probably everyone knew I had a problem. And even out of thousands, I think I was different. And I'm sure a lot of people became dependent on alcohol from uni. Yeah. But like it was my story, and that's so your brain doesn't fully form until you're 28-ish, they say. And when I got sober at 33, I was a baby. I was a kid. I didn't know how to live as an adult because I'd never confronted demons, taken responsibility for my own life. So it took me a good couple or few years to really become a man.
Yeah.
Mid-30s, pretty sad, really.
How did you do that?
Well, I did it out of necessity for a start. I think the truth is, I was living in Spain. I had moved at 31 to like a new start, escape my problems. But you can't, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in, the most beautiful part of Mexico. If you've got a drink problem, you've got a drink problem. And if you've got demons and you don't confront them, it doesn't matter where you are. And I thought maybe a fresh start would help me out. But when I got to Spain, it was like, booze was cheap, job was good, I was teaching at a university. And it was just that kind of lifestyle that I'd already been used to. And it just, I'm not saying that I was any worse in Spain than I was, but I just reached a head at 33, and I had a weekend in Granada. I was living in Seville when I got sober. I went to the Granada for a long weekend with my mates. I shouldn't have gone. Turns out I should have gone because it changed my life, really. Went there, behaved like an absolute wanker all weekend. People were like shunning me. And I just woke up on a Monday morning, took 2 cans out of my mate's fridge and tried to get back to the city of Granada to find the hostel I was staying in. My flip-flop broke. I had 2% battery on my phone. I was trying to frantically phone people. I had not a bean to my name. I was always skint.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just had like this epiphany on a hill in Granada and thought, if you don't stop now, you'll be dead when you're 40. Because I was drinking in the mornings.
Yeah.
Drinking in the mornings at 19. Used to drink. Even at that age, I would drink whiskey and Coke at night. So in the morning, I could drink it again. So it would cover the smell for my girlfriend, and she thought it was last night's whiskey. So I was hard, quite young, and I just knew if it was carrying on like that, breakfast drinking for another 10 years, I'd be dead. So I went to AA, and slowly but surely got a bit of momentum. But yeah, it was heavy.
What was it like walking through the door, to AA?
Overwhelming, but I was ready.
Yeah.
I drank my last drink on the Monday, got the train back from Seville, poured the last, I brought 2 cans, but I had no money, and I bumped into my flatmate on the main drag in Granada, and I stood there for about 2 hours hoping I'd see him, because I didn't know what hostel my stuff was in. So standing there like, uncharged phone, 1 flip-flop on the fucking floor, really, mentally.
Yeah.
And he walked past, and I've since made up with him, and I didn't treat him very well back then, but he gave me some money, and I got the train home back to Granada, and I got 2 cans for the train, and I rang my ex, who I'm back with now, and I said, I'm fucked, like I'm really, really struggling. And the next day, I rang AA, and they said, you've just missed the meeting, come on Saturday. So I went through 4 days of like brutal withdrawal on the sofa, because I didn't know that it wasn't like now where you got a sober Instagram, like the account I've got. You just had... You had AA or Nout in my head, so it was the only option. And how did it feel? I had 4 days of hideous withdrawal where I should have gone to a rehab centre or the hospital, really.
Yeah.
And when I walked through the door in Seville, it was an English-speaking AA on the street parallel to mine, Calle Estrella, which translates to Star Street. And I walked in, there was a woman from Glasgow in her 60s. My parents are I was born in Paisley near Glasgow. My mum and dad are Scottish. I am Scottish, as I said. And it was catharsis instantly. I didn't stay at AA for long. Yeah. It wasn't for me. But it set the ball rolling, and then I just managed to claw it back together slowly. It's heavy.
In those moments of crisis, what are people really given that they need?
An arm round the shoulder, maybe. I think everybody knew I had a massive drinking problem, but no one came up to me and said, mate, maybe you should sort your life out. No one, ever. Because most people were getting smashed as well. Yeah. I was just an extreme version. My mate from school, Eleanor, she, we grew up together, and then we lived in London, not together, but in the same neighbourhood. And one day on a Sunday morning, I was crying on her sofa, and she went, maybe you're an alcoholic, Gaz. And apart from that, I don't think I'd ever really... My best mate, Jim, always on a Sunday night used to say, mate, look at you, you're in bits. Because I just couldn't cope with it. The self-loathing was... so I needed love, and I got it at AA, you know. Bear in mind, I'd broken up with my partner the year before. None of my mates... I'd only moved to Seville 4 months prior. nobody really wanted to speak to me in Seville of the people I knew because I was just being a wanker all the time. But I was like in turmoil, you know. I was dying inside. Drinking at 7 a.m, because in Spain you can go to a bar, have a beer in the morning, nobody really looks at you because they think you're having a beer before you go to a building site or something. You know, people have a little shot of brandy and then they go work. Not everyone, but like it's more common here. If you see someone in Wetherspoons at 9 o'clock, you think they're an alcoholic here, don't you?
Yeah.
Just I needed a cathartic experience, and I needed just someone to tell me it'd be all right and tell me how to do it. I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
And now I know exactly how to do it, and that's why I started Sober and Sound, really. Because a lot of people have got no idea, you know.
You have this lifeline, and you say, get to midnight, go again.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah. I guess it's a play on one day at a time, really. When I first started Sober and Sound, and I looked back at it not long ago, and it was my second post. In fact, I think the 8th of February is the 2-year anniversary of me launching it. And I posted a welcome video of me looking like a wreckhead and then looking sharp and not like an absolute loser. And the next post, I remember recording something on an audio, just my thoughts, you know, on like the voice recorder on my iPhone. And at the end of it, I went, you just got to get to midnight and go again. That was in a 10-minute, you know, just stream of consciousness, blah, blah, blah. And I listened, I thought, oh, God, that's good. So I posted it, and I kept posting it on every post. And people started getting, oh, I really like your mantra, I really like your mantra. Because to me, one day at a time suggests there are more days.
Yeah.
And that you can't look into the future if you want to get sober. So my point was, get to bed. All you got to do is get to bed without a drink. And it just went mental. It caught on so much, the get to midnight, go again thing. So I say it at the end of every reel, I write it every post, people quoting it back to me, people hashtag GTMGA, you know, it's like, people are mad for it, to quote Liam. But to me, that's just more early. If you want to get sober, you need to understand that it's early sobriety and emotional sobriety. And the second one comes after the first. So early sobriety is reaching out, sharing, working out strategy, replacing alcohol with certain things, coping with cravings. You know, there's tools, you can plan for this. And that's early sobriety. And then once you've got a bit of like parity mentally, then you have to contend with all the things that you've been drinking to not face. And that was what I was doing. I just didn't want to face any of it. So I just got battered every day. So the get to midnight, go again, I think it's a bit more uplifting, positive, and smaller. You know, it's a bit more contained, one day at a time, than one day at a time. Because I used to have to get through the next 5 minutes without a drink. Right. I couldn't even look to the end of the day. I was like, right, I need to deal with it's quarter to one. Right, if I can get to 1. At that time, I didn't know that there was biology at play. I just thought it was weak.
Did you ever live by that? You know, I know you got to 5 minutes and then you get to midnight.
Yeah.
And how is it now for you?
Oh, I don't think about alcohol ever.
Amazing.
I had my podcast that I do myself. I had a guest on recently who's a woman from Manchester. She's a family recovery and addiction specialist. And I've been in contact with her for about 1.5 years. She's always liked my content, and she's a proper sound lady. Yeah. And she asked me on the podcast the other week, said, I mean, you're 11 years, Gary, and you still have to work it, don't you? And I was like, can I be honest? I don't really. And I tell you why. I think it's because I've created a life that I'm not terrified of. Like, I like who I am. I like what I'm about. I like what I do. I like the values that I live by now. Yeah. And I don't feel the need to, I don't think about it. I write about it, I talk about it, I help people, I coach, I create content all day, every day, and I never think about drinking. So it's worked, and I think people see that in me, and I think that's why it's popular.
It's so hopeful.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, I think when you're in that, you can't imagine that you will be able to live your life like that one day. Yeah. No, you can't. You don't believe it for a second. And I think people that like my content like the positivity. Yeah. They like the bluntness. Definitely. Because it's fucking blunt, and it's aggressive, and it's profane. Sorry, Mum. You know, my mum loves my content. But that's who I am.
I swear. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I say exactly what I think, and I'm not asked if it upsets anyone. I'm not an arsehole, do you know what I mean? But like, I will say what I think if I believe it. And the way I express myself, I don't know, it's people tapped into it. So yeah, it's hopeful, it's positive, and I'm a positive, optimistic person inherently.
Yeah.
And even when I was drinking, I was like, one day, I'll get there. Oh, it's just not today though. Let's just get smashed out my head. But I always knew that I had something.
If someone is listening right now, and I hope they are, because what you do resonates so strongly with what we're trying to do, me and Nick. Like, you're all about community. Things are really tough for so many people. And when I remember when I had thyroid cancer, and it was a really, really desperate time for me. And, you know, my world was in crisis. But what I always come back to is, what happens if I was going through all that and I had an addiction problem? I didn't have a place to live, or I can't feed my kids, or I'm suffering abuse at home, or and I just resonate so much with you as a person and what you're trying to do. And I think hopefully people who are listening to this, I'm hoping there's some investors listening to this with some deep pockets. And if you are, and you really do care about what's going on, my lovely mate's someone you should invest in. Because he's a good man.
I'm a good man.
He's a good man. But also, it's really important for our communities to survive and evolve by looking after people and giving support to people who need it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do as well by housing people. How does somebody reach out to you to either invest with you, or I know you're running you're mentoring people, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I am to be found on Instagram as my predominant home at soberNsound, sober letter N sound, soberNsound. And, you know, I get 20 messages a day, every day. Help me, save me. Thanks for saving my life. My marriage is fucked. What can I do? You've saved my marriage. Don't stop posting or I'll be dead, you know. So the reach out is massive, but I mean, that's where I can be found, you know.
Contact him. Like now?
You know, people need to understand that if you're you're ill, or your kids have got issues, or your business is failing, and you've got a drinking problem, your priority, okay, of course your kids are your priority, but you're your priority. Your sobriety is your priority, because when you're sober, you're 10 levels up, and you can take care of your shit and other people's.
Yeah.
So I think people reach out to me and say, oh, this is going wrong, but I don't want to quit drinking. I'm like, mate, you've got to quit drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what you're left with is like a purer version of yourself that is able to cope. Like, drinking is an escape. It's, you know, that's all it is. Look, I'm not here to say you're a person that goes and has 3 pints of bitter a day, and you sit at the end of the bar and you chat and you read the Racing Post, but you've not got a problem. You crack on, mate. I don't, you know, people go, oh, we've not all got a problem. I was like, it's not for you then, this content, is it? And for people that are struggling. So it's your number one priority. And that goes for drug problems as well, whatever. You know, like if you've got an addiction, you need to deal with it. And mega important. It's not as scary in reality as it is in your imagination. Because I drank for 15 years every day to hide away and not face stuff. And after being sober for 6 weeks, as much as it was hard to like recreate my identity and rebuild a life, it was much easier than drinking gin and tonic at 10 in the morning. Because that was all that was in the house. That's harder. Being an addict's harder than not being. Even if the confrontation of your problems is complex and, you know.
How do you maintain? How do you... Oh, it's all right. A little dog. Yeah. Hello.
Even the dog's reaching out to me.
Even the dogs that are coming in. How do you maintain that? Like, how do you live now? Because a lot of people are looking to you and you have to look after you. Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
I meditate. Meditation was the biggest thing for me when I got sober. The lady, the Scottish lady at AA told me to go home and meditate on the first day. And I was like, what are you on about? And it probably saved me, really. Because my goal is at all times is to try and look after my nervous system. And if I've got control of that, I've got control of my life. And to do that, I have to meditate. I have to read the appropriate things. Stoicism. I'm into stoicism. You know. I walk along here.
Yeah.
You know, that rhythmical movement calms me in the morning. I do savoury things. Watching my daughter sleep. You know, that kind of thing just grounds me. In the summer months, I walk barefoot. I kind of adopted that last year because last summer I was going through some mental stuff. Mental stuff, not like mental stuff, you know. But
yeah,
I'm self-aware, and even if I don't do things, I'm aware that I need to do stuff, you know. So yeah, anything that's grounding, breathing.
See,
I need to get back into the cold water swimming, but yeah, like I try and keep things holistic.
Yeah,
and I know sugar addiction, managed to get a grip on that. So I'm always looking at little ways to refine things. Look, I'm not perfect.
But you're close.
Certainly not. But the point is, I think a lot of people on the internet or online or socials look at me and maybe admire how far I've come. But I take the piss out of myself.
Yeah.
And I criticise myself. And I think that's relatable because, you know, I've got a temper. I'm irritable when I'm tired.
But you talk about it.
Yeah, well, I'm an oversharer.
But I like that because I think it's so important, particularly like my son Gabe. I was impressed by him because I asked him what he's doing his extended project on, and he said, I'm going to do it on toxic masculinity, Mum. And I was like, that's really cool, and I didn't expect that. But I think it's so like important to have people like you, Gary, out there.
Yeah, and I think it's not cool to be getting drunk every day.
No.
I thought it was, but it's not, because you damage a lot of people around you, you know. And I think it's good to have imperfect heroes, mentors, you know. And people that you go, oh, I like that about them, but they're fragile. I cry on podcasts. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's a sign of strength to me.
Yeah, it is.
And if anyone's going, and I've had it before, like my podcast, I used to do a podcast with my friend Craig, another, recovered addict, and I would cry on our podcast quite often, and you get people going, you fucking melt. It's like, mate,
yeah,
you need help, bro.
Yeah.
You need help if that's what you think. So it's cool to cry. It's also like biologically sound reaction to overwhelm and stresses, So I'm not perfect, but I'm doing my best to be as happily imperfect as possible and let people know it's all right to be a fuck up now and again,
Yeah. Thank you for coming on our podcast.
I've loved it. Thank you. And thank you for the impact you've had in my life and just I think you and your husband are very special people. And I might cry.
You could cry. I know.
Yeah, but you need people like that. And, I'm a person that can survive without friends. I'm an only child. I've been very transient. I've lived abroad. I've travelled a lot on my own. And sometimes you just need people to, have your back. So, and I feel like you have my back. And you have the community's back. And maybe together, I hope this has reached people.
Yeah.
There are people with... This is a property, community-led podcast. But someone watching this will resonate with what I'm saying because they'll have a drink problem.
Yeah.
Loads of people have got a drink problem.
Yeah.
So...
I truly believe that there is a movement for people to make things better. And I think you're certainly an important part of that within our beautiful town.
Yeah.
And you have a bigger calling.
You know, maybe I went through that because I am the kind of person that one day was going to be comfortable with sharing it. I don't know. But, you know, I hope that one day my kids look at the content and go, wow, my dad swears a lot, but he got his shit together.
Yeah.
And he kept it together and he helped others do the same. So, because I'll finish with this. My biggest torment as, and I've moved away from the word alcoholic since I started this. You don't need a label. You need action, and you need help, and you need guidance. But I'm going to say it because back in the day, that's what I thought I was. As an alcoholic, I woke up every morning, and okay, alcohol's a depressant, and I was miserable, but I was in turmoil because I couldn't live with myself for doing nothing with the potential that I knew I had. And that was the hardest thing for me. I was like, what are you doing? You've got so much.
Yeah.
You know, you've had so much. Life's been put on a plate for you. And that was my biggest turmoil. So to get out of that and to be able to try and realise my potential has been... And now it's to some level of realisation of it, but now it's to try and reach as close to maximising it as possible. So it's a never-ending process. And I've learned, I sleep better now at night since I started Sober and Sound than I ever have in my life, I think.
That's so true, because I feel that about what we do.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain things about my community, like property investors, like a lot of people, we're scumbags.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's the reputation that property people have, isn't it?
Absolutely. But it's like, for me, if I just think about a lot of, I'll say this as well, a lot of property people, if it's just about the money, you're doomed.
Yeah.
Because I can't sleep at night, you know.
Yeah.
I go and see property, see what people are living with. Often a lot of these people have addictions who are living in absolute squalor because people don't care and people don't support people. And I want to sleep, and I want to help people realise their own potential.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very rewarding to see that.
Yeah.
You know, in my last, I don't know, since I got sober, 12 years this April, I've been a teacher at a university, and I was a good teacher.
Yeah.
An inspiring, positive, formative, heart on sleeve teacher. And I know I impacted a lot of young Spanish people's lives because I get messages still, thanks for that, years ago. Then I worked with autistic people. And I was a mentor to lads that have been kicked out of school, taught them to get, that's all since I got sober, because I wasn't a selfish, self-absorbed prick.
Yeah.
And, good people do their best.
Yeah.
As much as they can. So, I'm not perfect, but I do try.
You do. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
We love you.
Likewise.
And, take care.
Big love. Get to midnight, go again.